Hey, what's up? We're here with another episode of Comic Book Movie News, and we have some TV sprinkled in, so don't worry about it. I know it seems like we're sprinkling it in every episode because we are. But we're going to start off with Oscar Isaac reportedly being in negotiations or talks to play Moon Knight, which means they're probably close to a deal. Now, Nick, what are your thoughts of him playing this role?
I mean, I think it could work mostly just because it's one of those situations where you have a role, whatever it is, you have an actor who is notoriously always reliable. So it's like, would it work? It's like, yeah, like it'd be a miracle, or not necessarily a miracle, or just would be like a 1 in a million chance if somehow like us, if Oscar Isaac does play the role and it somehow is like a complete bomb, it'd be like insane if that happened, just because it's Oscar Isaac, Mr. Poe Dameron, Mr. Most Violent Year, Drive. He's always reliable. I think he would be. Well, here's the thing. Then, if I think he's the right fit for Moon Knight, I don't know too much about the Moon Knight character. I will admit, from what I know, the character is like crazy. Like the character is nuts. But like, depending on the writer, it like jumps between being like comedic and dark. Like I know I've seen images where Moon Knight is just saying the most weird, like wackiest stuff, but it's just because like of his like unpredictable character. I think Isaac could pull it off. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm thinking of the scenes I've seen of Ex Machina, where
Hmm.
from what I can tell, that seems to me his most off kilter role. So I think it could work. He can play that like focused yet crazy type thing. I'm also thinking of um gosh, like even some of like moments of Poe Dameron, you could
Yeah.
see the focus. We can also see like a more like wilder energy appearing. I mean, again, is this confirmed? Not yet, maybe not even, but if this is what is going to happen, then I mean, Oscar Isaac came back to Marvel after his time in X-Men Apocalypse. So, um,
After being scarred for life.
I mean, gosh, that movie was such a wacky. Anyways,
Yeah.
if this is what happens, then again, how can it go wrong? It's Oscar Isaac. I just hope that they maintain the fact that Moon Knight is not just a crazy character, but also a notoriously violent character. Whether or not how far they'll push it on Disney Plus remains to be seen. But I think it'll be an interesting choice nonetheless.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Disney Plus is going to start pushing it a little bit more.
Mhm.
I think with like Blade, you kind of have to.
Right.
So I think Moon Knight will probably be the same thing. I like this casting. I've been talking about get me some Latino superheroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like
Right.
we can't just be having Michael Pena and Zoe Saldana being green. Like that's
Mhm.
and Oscar Isaac is an amazing actor, right? And that's what's most important to getting the role, not just that he is Latino, but that he's a great actor. And he fits. Moon Knight is supposed to have like multiple personalities,
Right.
I believe. And Oscar Isaac has like 10 different personalities that he's played in movies.
Mm.
You like you said, you have Drive, the kind of like desperate man. You have the really plain out evil man and Ex Machina, but like a twisted, manipulative type of person. Uh, you have Inside Llewyn Davis, the Coen Brothers film, where he's just kind of like a guy who just can't get a break. Everything's going wrong for him in life, and he's just struggling at every corner. You have Poe Dameron, where he just brings a ton of energy to the screen. Like he has all those different roles, and he's shown that he's capable of doing that. And I could totally see him in this, from like what I've been described as the role of Moon Knight. So I'm pretty excited about it. We're gonna move on to a young actor that you may not know of named Tom Holland in a movie that's a small indie film named Spider-Man, the third one.
I only found out about it this year. I had no idea like such a project even existed.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. But anyways, Tom Holland posted on his Instagram story that he had arrived in Atlanta to shoot Spider-Man 3, and then later posted a video of himself about to read the script. And I know we're all proud of him. He didn't spoil it for us this time. But what are your thoughts on him going straight from Uncharted to Spider-Man 3 and kind of the timeline of everything that's happening with him right now?
I mean, it fits with what we've been discussing these past few weeks, these past few episodes with like Jamie Foxx and Benedict Cumberbatch jumping onto Spider-Man 3, and how like we were saying that Doctor Strange 2 is supposed to start filming, and then like he was joining Spider-Man 3. It actually seems to be all coming together nicely. Um, I mean, not much to say because he's literally only just started like reviewing through the script. He's like their shooting doesn't even start I think until like next month really. So I mean, glad to see he's okay. Glad to hope he stays safe, jumping from one large production to another. Can't wait for whatever crazy pictures paparazzi get and how crazy out of context discussions we'll be having inevitably in the future. I'm waiting for the one image of like Jamie Foxx and he's like wearing blue and we're all like no. But anyway, well I guess we'll get there when we get there.
He's not wearing blue. He's not.
Hopefully.
But here's my thing. I
Mhm.
think what's interesting is that he's going straight from one to the other. I think he's probably getting there early. A lot of people know he does a lot of his own stunts.
Mhm.
So he probably has to get there early to train for some stunt work. There was a video that was released, which wasn't quite clear if it was an actual video from the Spider-Man 3 stunt team or not, but it kind of seemed like that would be the only thing for the stunt they were doing, of some guy like swinging onto something
I
and then
saw
like
that as well.
rolling over. Um, so it seems like they're doing stunt work and planning stuff out right now. And Tom Holland seems very involved in that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have him there early to do kind of learn that stuff ahead of time.
Mhm.
Um, I'm excited. I don't think we're going to get images that get leaked out like other stuff. Marvel is notoriously good at keeping things under wraps. Uh, I mean, look at what they filmed recently. Black Widow, we've only seen, what they wanted us to see.
Shang
And any
Chi.
of the, yeah, Shang-Chi. I mean, there's that one set photo, but that was from Marvel, right?
Something like I think, but like even if it wasn't, I'm trying to recall the image exactly. Like there was nothing to glean from it. There's
Right.
no information could be derived.
Right. They're very good at keeping their sets secure from paparazzi, which it stinks from a news perspective, but I think it's great from a movie perspective, especially this one, because I feel like Spider-Man 3 is going to be full of surprises.
Mhm.
I mean, the start of which is, what is this movie about? We have no idea what it's about. But we're going to move on because there's not really too much else to talk about there. So DC in the Batwoman TV show DC gives its first look of Batwoman for her TV show and Red Hood in the Titans TV show. Now, Nick, you're a big fan of these projects. I'm not as much. What were your thoughts?
Well, for those who don't know, Batwoman was originally played by Ruby Rose, but then she left at the end of the first season, and they created a whole new character to continue the show. Basically, the costume isn't it's the basically the same costume, but it was just I wanted to bring it up because it's just a thrill of seeing the new actress Javicia Leslie in the suit. This is the first time because Batwoman has been always a Caucasian woman, albeit a lesbian Caucasian woman, but still a Caucasian woman. So now to have Javicia Leslie is a black woman in black lesbian woman in that role. It's just a really cool moment just to see her officially in the suit. There's been a few behind the scenes images, but it looks to be good. I'm excited to see her in the role, and she looks to be completely at home in the suit. As for Red Hood in Titans, this has been a long time coming for those who keep up with the Batman comics. The character of Jason Todd is one of the most popular supporting characters in the Batman mythology, and for his character to finally reach the moment of becoming Red Hood, I think it's very exciting. We'll see how the execution is, but I think it's very exciting. And I think one thing that Titans, which I'll admit I don't regard as one of the best superhero shows and even one of the best DC properties. I think one thing they can never go wrong in is their costume department. I think they always put out some great suits. So and Red Hood looks to be continuing that. It's like a perfect combination of all the different versions of what Jason Todd has worn in the comics. So great suits all around, and I'm excited to see how they look when they're like fighting someone. You're on mute.
I'm always curious about what those costumes look like because I don't really tune into those shows. I'm not The production value is just not quite there for me, to be perfectly honest. And
Fair enough,
sometimes
fair
I
enough.
have a hard time looking past that,
Mhm.
which is partially on me, to be perfectly honest. But there's also so little, so much little time to watch so much. But
Yes, yeah.
I thought the costume looks cool for Batwoman. Red Hood, I've always thought was just a cool looking character.
Yeah.
There's Red Hood, there's Black Mask, who's always been a really cool looking character, and there's someone we'll get into later who's a really cool looking character. But we're gonna move on to Shang Chi. It just wrapped filming, so now it's gonna go into editing. It seems like we have all these Marvel films that are now just like on the back burner because they're all done filming, and we haven't gotten to see any of them. So, what are your thoughts on it wrapping filming?
I'm just glad that means that's another film that we can just say, okay, they can take it to their homes. They don't have to worry about, potentially catching COVID. The editors can work from their homes and like do it from there. It's kind of like James Gunn's Suicide Squad. It's done. They don't have to worry about necessarily interacting, hopefully catching it. They can just work on getting it out into theaters. Like I know like with the Batman, I'm like still I'm stressed every now and then just because Robert Pattinson got COVID a few weeks back, so the virus is still as present as ever. But it's good to hear that they're filming, and that means that's another project that hopefully will come out. They're scheduled still 21, right? That's their
That's
yeah.
Oh, are they? No, I think they moved to 2022, to be honest.
Was it? Because I thought it was supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be Eternals. I know Eternals got shifted to the end of the
Oh,
year.
Shang-Chi. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking of the Batman because you're talking about the
Oh, is
Batman.
that? Oh, sorry, my bad, my bad. Yes, the Batman got moved, but Shang-Chi is still targeting their 21 release date. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to see they're still trying to maintain that schedule and try and hit that release date. And yeah, I'm glad they got out of it relatively safe and okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to release July 9th, 2021. Shang-Chi, that is. I didn't confuse myself this time. Uh, I'm just excited. I've heard about this movie for a while now. I'm trying to remember Shang-Chi's director's name. I'm blanking on it. It's really bothering me. Um, it's
Dustin Cretton.
Destin Daniel Creighton.
Dustin Daniel. There you go.
Yeah, yeah, and I believe he directed Short Term 12
And you had that Michael B. Jordan movie recently as
and
well.
Just Mercy, which
Yeah,
like
busy guy.
those are my two of my favorite movies from the past few years. I know I say like favorite movies. Favorite movies usually means top 10 to 15 movie, like top 10 movies of that year.
Mhm.
And I'm really excited to see him in directing another film. I think from what I've heard about Shang-Chi, it's supposed to be pretty badass. So I'm kind of hyped about it. But we're going to move on to the person to your left. Deathstroke joins Justice League reshoots. And we also learned that the Joker, Jared Leto, is also in the Justice League reshoots. Now, I know it's a new thing because they're making it a 4-hour or 4-episode TV thing. But I'm just going to say again, this movie was not finished. They had a cut of it, but it was not a finished film like people thought it was. And it just reinforces it that they're going into reshoots with all these different characters again. I understand parts of it. You're making it a 4-episode series. You need to make it into like a 3-act structure for each episode.
Right.
So you might need to shoot a new ending that like pushes episode 1 into episode 2 and all that different stuff because it's a whole different world the way they're making this film. But I'm excited. I had read a lot about the Ben Affleck and script for his version of the Batman with Deathstroke. I had read and heard from people that I follow online that script was supposed to be pretty spectacular.
Mhm.
And really, honestly, the reason it didn't get made was some problems Ben Affleck was having in his personal life,
Mhm.
which is very much, it's very sad about that and also about just not getting to see that movie, which hopefully they turn into a series or something that we can watch on HBO Max. That would be the bomb.
Mhm.
Uh, but we also have Jared Leto's Joker that's back. I think that's the more notable thing. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm excited. Well, I was really excited to hear that Joe mentioned I was coming back as Deathstroke, but I also had to temper it because I think he's such a cool fit for the role. But I also know that I don't think he was ever intended to be like, necessarily a big part. So I have to assume that they're either just redoing the scene that I have behind me, or they're doing one extra thing, and like that'll be it. And it's just he'll be there, but not an overwhelming presence. So I kind of had to temper my excitement, just be like, you're only getting a little Deathstroke, not too much. So don't go in expecting for anything more. As for Jared Leto's Joker, I'm surprised Jared Leto even agreed to come back. Warner Brothers screwed David Ayer over with his Suicide Squad cut, and which in turn screwed over Jared Leto because, for those who don't know, like so much of his scenes were just cut for no good reason. Then Warner Brothers just was like changed the film. So I'm surprised he came back. I thought when he made the jump to Marvel with Morbius, I thought I took me personally, I took that as him saying like, no, screw you guys. Like I'm just gonna just go where they want me. So I'm intrigued that he's coming back. I have no idea how he's. I'm trying to rack my head through because there's still, for all the details that's been released about the Snyder Cut story, I feel there's still a lot that hasn't been revealed. So whether or not how he functions into this big story, I'm not sure. I'm just hoping that whatever his role is, that I'm just glad he's gonna get a second chance of sorts, just because I do think I don't know. I mean, Jared Leto. If you've seen Dallas Buyers Club, if you've seen Blade Runner, I think Jared Leto's a fine actor. I just think that when it comes to his version of the Joker, I don't know. Maybe we need to see more of it. Who knows? I'm just again for me the gut reaction was I'm surprised you came back, but I'm intrigued that you're back. I'm just did not. You were the last person I would have expected because you made the jump to Marvel. But good. Again, good. Interesting to see how they're rounding out this big project.
Yeah, I mean, they had to promise him something or given him a ton of money for him to come back as a Joker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe he's just like, you know what, I'll do it. Maybe he just said that. But I mean, he was treated so, given some stuff about how he was on set for the Suicide Squad seemed a little bit weird, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that he, when you're on those big films, you commit so much time, and to have yourself in so much of that film and then not be in like 2 minutes of it, it's just like it's borderline disrespectful because you put so much work into making the film the best that you can on set, and then you don't get to see the end result of it. It's all in the cutting room. All of it is on the cutting room floor, basically. And I mean, and then they make a Joker movie and you're not the Joker in it. I mean, can you imagine for someone who's like, oh, I just got slighted because they cut me basically out of the movie. But maybe they'll let me do this Joker movie. And then they're like, no, Joaquin Phoenix is doing it. And it's like, wow, he really got done dirty there.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm really curious what brings him back. I'm curious if they promised him something in the future. Maybe there's a Joker and Harley Quinn movie coming because that's kind of what I want to see. But who knows? Because we haven't seen anything. I'm not very much pro the like release this cut, release that cut sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd be curious as just like not making it a big thing, but like here's a direct like on HBO Max if they just release the cut that David Ayer had. Because I think it's one thing like releasing it, it's another thing putting more money back into the cut. I just don't want that trend to continue of filmmakers doing that. Like I think he was dealt a really poor hand. Saying it nicely. But at the end of the day, it kind of is what it is, and I'd rather just move on to new projects rather than being like, give me this cut and the old stuff. That's how I personally feel.
Fair enough.
But that said, I wasn't excited about. I was not one of those people who's like, give me the Snyder cut. But now that it's happening, I'm actually excited
It's hard to
about
say no.
it.
It's hard to say no. The potential, just the potential of what could happen is, how could you say no? How could you like just say, oh well, whatever? Like it's there. It's exciting.
Yeah,
It's intriguing.
100%. And hope it'll be coming out at some point in 2021,
Right.
which is a very specific time, especially for HBO Max, which is kind of lacking new content.
Right.
But we'll keep you updated on that and everything else in the world of comic book movie news and TV news. So we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.